Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to LCDC TV, the news channel for the London cab trade. Well, I'm over here today at Colts Cabs, the biggest fleet in London. And what's on the agenda? If you're a cab driver, you know exactly what I'm going to say. It's the lack of cabs available. It's a shocking situation. And one I'll be discussing with Michael Glassman, the biggest fleet owner in London. 100% cab trade, his family, Glassman. When I done the knowledge 36 years ago, it was just over there at BJ's. And I rented a cab from his dad when I got out. And it's all part of taxi folklore, really, the Glassman family. So be interesting to get his take on it. Earlier on today, I had a Zoom meeting with private hire, taxi trade and TfL, just to bring us up to date, really. I've got a few little notes, but the only things that would really affect us is that because of the lack of appointments, getting appointments, NSL will be opening the phone lines now of a weekend, Saturday and Sunday. They're trying to open some centres of a weekend to get cabs plated. And also, I think in a few months' time, we'll see a change. NSL have lost the contract, or however that works with contracts, and the new people taking over is a company called Marston's. They'll be taking over from NSL. During inspections, there's a proposal that they all wear body cams for security for everyone, so that could be a change. But again, also today, what I'm here for, to speak to Michael, and what I raised with TfL, and it's this. In the cab trade, there is shocking numbers of drivers who we are losing. There's a shocking number of knowledge applicants and on the knowledge, and also the lack of vehicles. So we've got a lack of vehicles, a lack of drivers, and a lack of knowledge students. So really, in a nutshell, you've got to ask yourself, where does this leave the cab trade? I've got my own opinions, but I'll come to them later. Here we are. Talk of the devil. Michael, come over here. Come over here. Speak to Michael, shall we? Michael, thanks for the time. Hi.
You have caught me unawares, Mr. Davis.
I have touched on, Michael, that many moons ago. Now they're coming for you, Michael. Is it?
This is not the greatest place to do it, to be honest. But we'll say we'll have a go.
Right, listen. I just said earlier, many moons ago, when I was on the knowledge at BJ's, your father, God rest his soul, BJ's, I rented from him when I first got out. Part of taxi folklore, isn't it?
Yep, definitely. This street has been taxi trade for as long as I've been in the trade, 43 years. I think we're the last one standing in this street. I think there's one still in 3 Colts Lane. But the taxi trade is disappearing very rapidly around the East End. And they are mostly sort of going out to places like Enfield and Barking, where the rents are cheaper, because the rent here is not cheap.
But it's not as convenient for you, probably yourself or the drivers who want to come and get their cabs fixed or get rented.
I mean, it does suit drivers, because obviously if you're working in London, there's no point if you live in Enfield and hiring a cab from Enfield when you work in London, because if you limp back to Enfield, you're never going to come back to London. So that's why I've always thought, base yourself in London. And we are on the edge of London, being Liverpool, by Liverpool Street.
Yeah.
And it's so handy for drivers to limp in and then straight back to work. And, we do have a quick service here. We are literally the quick fitters of the cab trade. Definitely.
Michael, we've been speaking in the last couple of weeks previous to today about the lack of appointments for taxis at NSL. I know I spoke to TfL along with yourself to try and remedy it. They said they was going to try and help you. I believe they are helping you and other garages, Michael. But is it a little bit too little too late, or?
Well, it's mid-October now, isn't it? I mean, this should have all been sort of sorted out for late August, early September. I think they knew this was going to happen. Taking into account the beginning of the pandemic, they gave everybody a 6-month extension. So everything that was March and April suddenly becomes September, October. add that to the normal September, October overhauls, add that to the new vehicles that are coming through rapidly because people are buying new vehicles now. It's the perfect storm at the moment for lack of appointments, lack of taxis for taxi drivers.
Well, they did say today at the meeting, the Zoom meeting, that there was going to be a spike in October, which is what we're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
But they hope that it'll level off in November. But talking about the trade, Michael, as it is today, Mr. Motorbike, you know it and you've seen it for yourself. You're saying the drivers actually turning up at your garage in the morning asking for a cab. Is that correct?
Well, worse than that. I literally had a driver on the phone crying yesterday because he can't pay his mortgage this month. I've had drivers turn up with their wives and children, with their wives now saying, please give my husband a cab. And this takes me back to the days of when the steering boxes took 500 cabs off the road, and the fires took the early TX4s, took 500 cabs off the road. Where 500, but this is worse. We're looking now 3,000 to 4,000 drivers out there, I think, looking for cabs. You know, there's a deficit. There's a £6,000 difference between, 6,000 driver difference between drivers and cabs. Let's say 20% don't come back. You know, you're looking at still 3,000 to 4,000 drivers looking for cabs. And the amount of phone calls on a Monday morning, I think every one of the 3,000 to 4,000 ring me. I literally go home on a Monday night with bells ringing in my ears. Monday just can't come quick enough to end, to be honest with you. It's disheartening, heartbreaking for a lot of drivers. Customers I've known that I never thought I'd see again. You know, they went off last March and they went and did their other jobs. They're all returning. The trade has picked up. They know there's money there. They always want to be their own boss. You know, they don't want to be told what to do by some at Tesco's and wherever they're stacking shelves or whatever they're doing. They want to be their own boss. They've always been their own boss, do their own hours. They know the money's there and they want to come back. I can't help them. I'm telling them to stay at their jobs. Don't give the notice in yet.
But you and I know during the pandemic, when there was no work in the cab trade, London was dead. With a family, you have to take another income job to pay the bills, to pay the food. So now they're coming back to be a cabbie again.
Yes.
There's if they take no vehicles, there's no chance, Michael, is there?
No chance. There's no cabs. There's no cab. And it's only going to get worse. You know, the figures for this year, we're going to lose another 1,200 vehicles. 1,200, I don't think LEVC can sell 1,200 vehicles in a year.
I think it's about 300 a year they can make.
Yeah, so next year is going to be worse than this year.
And the year. And you know what though, Michael? Today I broached this very subject with TfL, the mayor, this Labour mayor, who is putting working class people out of work through his policies of a 12-year age limit. Because I'm looking at your cabs, I'm looking at taxis with the plates all off now.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be coming off the road, Michael.
Well,
should we really? I mean,
hang on. There's a lot of action that goes on in this street, I tell you. No, they shouldn't be coming off the road, to be honest with you. I mean, we've got to a limit now where, hang on a minute, there's 20,000 cab drivers. There should be at least 18,000 cabs. I mean, the pandemic has just wiped out 2 years of cabs because we couldn't replace them. We didn't buy any cabs literally last year during the pandemic, most of this year because the finance companies wouldn't give us any money. So 2 years have just been wiped out, never been replaced. That's why we've dropped down to 13,000, 14,000. It will never, ever go back up to those figures. It's impossible.
And when you think about it, myself included, like drivers, in the pandemic, you almost lost a year of your plate because you wasn't using your cabs. So you've lost a year, really. Yeah. And then this Labour mayor, Sadiq Khan, says, oh no, you're going to have 12 years because you're not buying the electric vehicles as quick as you told us, telling us that there'd be 9,000 on the road. When that didn't come to pass, he said, well, if you're not buying the green vehicles, I'm going to take the older ones off. Yeah.
I mean, it is, you know, being forced to buy them. But the thing is, even though you are being forced to buy them, the money's not there to buy them. The finance companies, you know, got their hands in their pockets and they won't release the money. I mean, I'd love to buy another 200-300 vehicles. I'd love to replace some of these old diesels. You know, and to be honest with you, you know, the people are now asking for the LEVC taxis or the electric taxi. Dynamo as well as the LEVC, because they know that obviously the roads, the passengers like them, and also they don't break down as much. They are much more reliable, but I can't get the money, and you know, I haven't got the money in my pocket. I haven't got the money in my pockets, as most people will think. You know, it's all a business here. It's all in taxis, and we need the money for the finance, and it's just a continuous circle. You buy it, you finance, and you revolve around.
But the thing is, Michael, this is your business, right?
Yeah.
If we could have, God, where do you? This is LCDC from Beirut. Michael, where do you got? This is here.
Oh, this is just a calm day. You want to be here, man. Yeah, this is a good day.
I'm going to do Crime Watch from here next week. But Michael, listen, if the mayor was to be sensible and if the mayor was to look at his policy on the age limit, we have proven with statistics, Michael, that next year, year 14, we meet the emissions target. Yeah. Sadiq wants it by 2025. By next year, 2022, we meet it. All right? We meet it. Yeah. So he could freeze the age limit at 14 years.
Yes.
And after the pandemic we've had, Michael, to let the trade try and recoup, you know, pull our bootstraps up, drivers and garages being able to keep cabs for another 2 years to rent out, and then drivers in the next 2 years can buy an LEVC. Yeah, it'll be a smooth transition instead of going off a cliff edge like the cab trade's doing right now.
It does need to start up a bit. It's just got too fast a pace, and unfortunately the pandemic has just heightened the pace because we haven't had the new vehicles to replace them. So when you've got 4,000 or 5,000 potential drivers looking for cabs, they will have to seek employment elsewhere. And like I said before, you know, when they phone up, I said, don't hand your notice in yet. I can't bring you back into our game. There's nothing, haven't got the tool to get out there and earn money at the moment. And the waiting list, it's got to be over 1,500, 2,000 names just in there. And I know they're ringing other garages as well. The same names are ringing the same garages. We're ringing the same people to try and get appointments. It is the perfect storm at the moment. And I have a question come through about phone lines, Vanessa. When are phone lines open?
Well, today at TfL, they said they was going to
do that question so people know.
Oh, okay. Sorry. We just had a question saying about the phone lines at NSL opening up.
Forget it.
They reckon today at the Zoom meeting I had with Transport for London,
2 hours.
They're going to open them up on the Saturday and Sunday.
Well, they're opening up Saturday because we've nicked some appointments for this Saturday. We're at Enfield, but I'm a limited staff on Saturday, so I can't rush too many up there. But it's tip of the iceberg what I can cover this Saturday. And then the next time they're telling me is extra appointments is in November. Well, that's 2 weeks away. That's when I was on the phone to them yesterday. So it's hard. And, you know, literally, I mean, if you sat there and heard some of these drivers that phone up and say, is my cab passed yet? And said, well, no, I can't get an appointment. You know, you can see
it's chronic. What a state of affairs, really.
It's
another one's coming from Andy, trying to deregulate the vehicle, open it up to other companies and remove the 24-foot training circle. No longer needed as we have a modern invention called power steering. What's your answer to that?
Well, I certainly think we was promised 5 vehicles from TfL, and they said that there'd be so many charge points should fall over. That's were the exact words of Michelle Dix. As you and I know, Michael, we've got just 2, and maybe, you know, with the cycle lanes, would that be something that the cab trade would like to look at? Vehicles without a turning circle, open the market up, full transits, Volkswagen transporters. Do you think that's the way it's going, Michael?
I personally don't think we should open it up to, you know, all manner of vehicles. People won't know what a black taxi looks like. I mean, you've got so many different shapes around at the moment. I mean, and they are when they look at a Dynamo. And I remember the days of the Vito, they wouldn't get in the Vito. The drivers were racing back and saying, you know, give us a TX4. They're not getting in my taxi. So now they've accepted the Vito. The LEVC obviously stands out. It stands out. You can understand that. The Dynamo, the passengers are a bit sceptical. Anything more, and it just wouldn't work.
So, Michael, listen, I know you're busy. And once again, on behalf of the cab trade who's watching, thank you for giving up your time. I know staff ain't come in today. You're flat out, right? Michael, the state of the trade, how do you think we can try and save the trade, get it back on keel? Knowledge,
without doubt,
vehicles?
Well, you know, I used to say it's the knowledge, but what's the point of bringing knowledge boys in now and we haven't got the vehicles? You know, finance companies need to open up the coffers. We need to buy. Big companies like myself, other big companies want to buy taxis. We can increase London's fleet. We need the money to do it. They need to back the London taxi trade. The knowledge, where I was pro, you know, reducing the knowledge to a quicker time if possible. now I'm saying, well, what's the point now? Because there's no vehicle.
No
It's a very strange situation.
Okay.
And it's going to get worse. If the way it's coming on, it's going to get worse next year. I fear for next year. I fear for the amount of calls and people not being able to get a vehicle. It's just dropping. I've just 59 plate just come off this morning. I'm not going to license it. It's finished. It's done. And now the driver's had to go home. He's waiting for a call. I can give him something newer.
I hope TFL and the mayor is watching this because, as I said, we have a Labour mayor, and these policies are directly making working class people unemployed.
Without a doubt.
A Labour mayor, sink that in.
In this taxi trade. Yeah.
In this taxi
trade. They
are
unemployed.
They are. Every vehicle that comes off the road, you're almost decommissioning that driver as well. Michael, put it there.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trade.
Just one line. You answered. We had someone called Ugly Sam. He said 3 years stolen from me. Bought a cab on the basis of 15.
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
Well, we all did.
What a joke you all. So
I'll tell you. No. I'd like to answer that, Sam, because I didn't know this question was coming. But Michael, a vouch for me here. Did we or did we not go up to see Binman's lawyers in Gray's Inn Road about the age limit?
No, I went to TFL. They wanted to do a workshop. They wanted to speak to us with other proprietors. They went in there and they knew exactly what they were doing before.
But remember, we went to see Binman's about taking a court action against the 3 years.
Yeah, there was that as well.
And they said, because it's all down to clean air legislation, he, the mayor, could get away with it because it's not being seen as vindictive to us. Yeah. It's about cleaning up London's air,
I know. And
this guy is now saying order of disgrace.
Well, that's all right, because I've got a 15. Listen, I've got a 15-year-old.
Let this gentleman come and run the cab trade himself. If he can try and do any better than Grant and the other organisations fair, let him have a go himself. It's all right talking behind the camera. Let them have a go themselves. Let them come and run a taxi garage themselves. They wouldn't stand a chance.
Well, there you go. Listen, again, Michael, thank you so much. I know you're busy. I know this is going to be greatly received because loads of viewers, because this is the issues that are affecting the cab trade right here, right now. Michael, thank you.
And one final thing. Chelsea to win the Premiership, yes?
Up the Chelsea. Champions League, Premiership double.
Champions of Europe.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh,
thank you. Right, there you go. Michael Glassman telling a few home truths. And that is from the horse's mouth. So, again, what the LCDC said to TFL today at our meeting is we're losing knowledge, boys. We're losing drivers. We're losing vehicle numbers. What is your plan to save the cab trade? And they haven't got one.
All right, I've got another question coming through, right? I'll put it up, right? So people see. So we're on any questions.
No.
So someone called Peter Colm says, you agreed on a 15 years without asking your members.
15 years on...
I suppose,
well, no, Boris brought that in, 15 years, yeah? Right. And regardless if my members didn't want to do it, because I know they didn't want to do it, they brought it in anyway, yeah?
There we go.
Listen, I've got a 15-year-old veto, and I've lost 3 years. So do you think I'm happy with that? Of course I'm not, yeah? And that's why I'm saying, with this Labour mayor, his policy of making it 12 years is the final nail in our coffin. This mayor, if he's the mayor of the people like he says, he should then be looking at his actions and saying, you know what, because of the pandemic, because of this situation that we're in, and we're going to meet our emissions criteria next year, I'm going to say to the cab trade, 14 years, keep your cabs for 14 years and everyone will be happy, yeah? We'll do the clean air thing with natural wastage and the new vehicles coming on stream. That's how you help save the cab trade. Sadiq. So, I was going to get at me pram a bit there, but I'm going to hold it back. Thanks for watching LCDC TV. Really appreciate it. And like I said, this whole station is about us talking to you, because you and me and Michael, we are the cab trade, yeah? It's like a pizza. We're all one of many slices. So if you want to have a say, you want to get involved, email me at the club, thelcdc@gmail.com, and we can have that conversation, yeah? Let's have that discussion. How do we save the cab trade? Thanks for watching.